Welcome to Ellis Mowers and More. On today's video, we've got a John Deere LX176 that has a charging issue. And I'm just going to tell y'all, this one might be a fun one to sort out. I'll show you why here once we get started. Let's go ahead and get going. Alright guys, John Deere LX176. This is the one, I don't know if I made videos on this, but we put a transmission belt on this one. I did make a video on it. And we had to put a drag link on it. Well, here it is a couple months later. It's mowed a bunch of wet grass, as you can see. And was cutting and stopped. And battery was dead. It's not charging the battery. So what I did, I was like, oh, voltage regulator, awesome. We'll throw a voltage regulator on and be done. Luckily, the voltage regulator is only like $20 or so. Put one on it, plugged it in, same thing. But as you can see, this one's probably going to be a fun one to repair because somebody has severely hacked this wiring to make it work. I'm assuming these have like little computers or something in them, and the guy decided to bypass all of that with this setup here. So fun times. Yeah, I don't think anything weird's going on with the wires. From what I can tell, everything's nice and connected in there. So what I've got to do is do a little bit of tracing. What I'm going to start with is seeing if I've got 28 volts AC or so coming out of the stator out here. So we've got some wires that are coming out of the stator right here, it looks like, and I got to make sure that they are getting the proper voltage, and if they are, then we'll explore retrofitting a voltage regulator on this thing to see if it'll work. I've already done a few things to see if I could sort out why it's not charging. Have not gotten very far yet because I was doing it on site at the person's house and wanted to see what I could do, and obviously I couldn't do anything there, so I brought it here and we're going to see if we can get something going here for the guy so that it'll charge the battery. So a little bit closer look at the wiring situation here. It's pretty bad, but coming up top here, it looks like we've got 3 wires. I believe the white one here is the stator, or not the stator wire, but the ignition coil wire. And then you follow the routing and it comes to this 3-pin plug here. These 2 wires go up to, I presume, the voltage regulator. And then the 3rd wire goes over to, would have gone over to the ignition coil, which that portion has been bypassed through the through this wire. So I assume this is the kill wire. What I'm going to do, I got to put a battery in it because the one I have it on is charging. So I'm going to put a battery on it. I'm going to see if it'll start with this. We'll see if it'll start with this unplugged to start. This is all like residual wires from where it got rewired for whatever reason. I mean, this is crazy. But if it starts, number 1. Number 2, I get 28 volts AC coming from these 2. Then I can plug this straight into a voltage regulator somewhere. And I mean, I assume that I can go right up in here because we've got the, what? This is a black, what we got? 2 brown and white striped wires are going straight into the voltage regulator, maybe? Maybe I can pull these 2 wires and make sure that they're fully going where they need to go. I'm not even showing y'all where I'm talking about, but voltage regulator, like there's a wire here and a wire here for the voltage regulator. just need to make sure they're where they need to go. Oh, look at there. That might be our problem. That wire wasn't all the way in. This is kind of crazy, though. It honestly is kind of crazy what all is going on here. There may just not be enough on that wire to get a good contact. Either way, I'm going to test the stator first to make sure we're getting 28 volts out of that. Or roughly 28 volts AC. Make sure the stator's good, and then we can track up to the voltage regulator and see what we need to do there. Alright, put a battery in it. We're going to test a couple things. I've already tested the ignition switch, and I'll show you this that this wire is the kill wire. So now what I'm going to do, crank it back up, and we're going to test for voltage, AC voltage on these top two. And hopefully we have it. And we got 31 on this. Is take the multimeter and test the continuity all the way up to the voltage regulator, because I have a feeling that I have a break somewhere before or at the voltage regulator, and there's a lot. I mean, there is a ton of hack job wiring going on here, so this is not good when it comes to that. So let me get ohms correct here. Let me get down here and test. Let's see. How can I do this? We can do that, and then I will unplug this, and we'll figure out what we got here. Part of me says we've got something going on with the wire connection at the voltage regulator, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Need to get a screwdriver to poke that out, or to get that loose off of the. There we go. Okay. I will take note of where all these are. That way, if I've got to plug them in individually outside of the connector, I can do that. But we've got, let's see, so we've got two possible candidates, and this wire is just not in there very far. So I'm wondering if we've got something going on there. But if we can get, let's see. So we have full continuity right there on that wire, which is good. Let's do the other side here. And let's see, so the one that is not very... It looks like we don't have any right here. So there must be a break in this wire somewhere. Oh no. No, it's full continuity too. Okay. And then theoretically we should have, let's see, the red wire, right? I think y'all are getting all this. Can't see the old meter, but that's the hard to do anyways. Full continuity here. Yep. There's no way that there's two bad voltage regulators. So what I'm going to do is, let's see. Got to figure out what I'm going to do with this whole wiring. This wire right here, because this is just not working very well. I'm just going to try and plug it back in here. Plug this wire in as far as I can get it. Do a little wiggle. Push this in. And crank it up. Not getting anything, so let me see if on this side of the stator we're getting voltage. So let me shove this into there. And I've got a couple of bare wires here that are exposed on the voltage on the stator here. So let's see. So I'm getting full continuity on that wire all the way up here, and then am I getting continuity there? I don't understand how these work, or this works honestly, with the voltage regulator, if it's converting something inside there or sending it out somewhere else. But because I would imagine there'd be maybe a tiny bit of resistance. I mean, I know what I can do to fix it. She ain't gonna be pretty, but it would work. Basically, I just take the two wires here, which are the stator wires. So this one, right? And then this other one here, I just pull them out of the plug. This red wire, I just pull out too. Give me a Kohler voltage regulator and just stick them terminals on there, ground it to something and be done. So that is something that I might do. So let me see what I can do here, because I really need to get this thing back to the customer so that he can cut his yard. And let's see, so that's to some sort of light. That is a ground wire to something. And this yellow wire is like a PTO switch wire, I believe. Will it start without this on? Oh, that's a complete bypass, so I ain't worried about that. We should get this thing charging. And this is the charge wire right here, going up to this fusible link to the ignition switch, it looks like. So let's see, so it goes, and then this goes through a blue wire. Somehow it goes up through there and goes up through this blue wire. It goes into this blue wire that goes down to who knows what. That's almost like a diode or something down there. I think that is a diode. I wonder if it's a bad diode, y'all. Huh. but there's still full charging there, so why is that blue though? I'm going to do a little more investigating. This is the situation that I have though, so this is kind of crazy. With this. Before I let y'all go, let's see if there's any resistance between this and the red wire on the voltage regulator plug. And if there is, okay, so that's full continuity there. Still. So the only thing I can guess is that we have a bad regulator. Two bad regulators, or something not triggering the regulator to charge. Let me do a little bit of experimentation and I'll get right back to y'all. Well, what's a little bit more hack job wiring? Pretty much what I had to do here. Probably could be better, but it is going to work, I suppose. Here's what we got. So I took a Kohler voltage regulator here and took the two wires coming from the stator, which we determined down here on the bottom. This striped wire, the two brown wires, one of them's got a yellow stripe, one of them's got a white stripe on it. Put them into the charging side, or the input side of the voltage regulator. I'll probably change where that zip tie is, just to make sure it doesn't conduct any electricity. And then I put red wire for the battery to the positive battery terminal. You could put a little fusible link in there if you wanted to, but I do want to show you that this is now charging at 14 volts. Which is a good thing. So let me crank her up. This thing is a good starter, that's for sure. That's good. Steady until it stopped running there. I don't know if it's out of gas or what, but let's see. Must have ran out of gas. Stop pumping gas, one of the two. Well, I guess I gotta investigate that now. Kind of crazy. So let me figure that out real quick and then I'll be right back with y'all. Okay, so we're in the process of changing this ignition coil. I actually did cut the whole front yard with it and then let it sit for a little bit. Cut it on. It ran for a minute and then cut right back off just like it did the other day. So now that I know that something's going on with this, I got the ignition coil. We're going to take this off and so far, it looks like all I've taken off so far, and it looks like I may have to take these four off right here. 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter, two 10 millimeters for the fuel pump just to get it out of the way. We got a 10 millimeter holding that down, a couple of screws there. I am going to disconnect the negative battery terminal because this 10 millimeter's got some ground, well no, this is just ground wires, not positive wires, so I can just pull that off 10 millimeter. And well, we'll see what else I got to take off, but it should just be a pretty plug and play thing with the coil. And hopefully that fixes our issue with it running for a second and then quitting. I'm thinking it's just some sort of short inside I think this one's got the built-in igniter in it. I don't see a separate igniter on this. So, and I took the code and got the correct part number and all that stuff and ordered what I believe to be the correct ignition coil. Okay, so we've got the 8mm here, and we're going to pull that off. I've already taken the lead off, and it's just a matter of screwing it on to this end right here. I don't think you got to gap this, because I don't think there's any give on it hardly, so I think it just plugs right in. So in order to take this engine cover off, I had all the bolts correct. I just had to take off the 3 screws for the top cover here as well. So, given all of that, we're going to put this 8mm, or put this new ignition coil on. Go ahead and plug it in, and also plug it into the spark plug. And put these on. I mean, this mower is 1996, so pushing 30 years old. It ain't gonna kill us to put one of these on. I think it's got a little bit of a sump gasket leak as well, so I think we gotta be careful about that. Let's see. Let's make sure that everything's straight with all of this. Everything looks good. Looks like I take this side and push it in a little bit, but I guess there is a tiny bit of adjustment on these. So I'm going to get this back together now, and let me see if I just pull this off right here, I can at least test it before I call it a day. Oh no, I can't. I need to put these wires in real quick just to make sure. And I need to run it for just a couple. I need to run it for at least 2 or 3 minutes just to make sure. That shouldn't get it to the point where it's too hot, but I don't want to have to redo a bunch of stuff if I don't have to, so. Alright, so given all that, let's crank her up. Let's see here. What I'm going to do to help keep everything nice and protected here so it doesn't fall off is I'm going to take this boot here and throw a bunch of electrical tape on it. So hopefully it doesn't fall off or anything like that. So might do that. Go ahead and do that, and then I'll get everything back on for the engine cover and all that, and we'll see if that fixes everything. Of course, we've got this little piece right here as well that I should have put on beforehand, but it's okay. We'll just split it and let it sit so that it has a good passageway through the engine cover there. I know this is pretty oily. It has a little bit of a leak down here in the bottom for some reason, so we're going to let it roll. All right, I think we're done. So that's good. Like I said, that new coil probably needed it anyways, and should be work well for us. So might let it sit here for a second, make sure it'll turn back on and run for a minute or so. But the only thing I can think of is with how consistent it was when it cut off is that internal stator that was inside this that other ignition coil was just going out once it got hot. You'd let it rest for a second and then it would quit, or then it would run for a second and then quit. And then the longer you let it rest, the longer it would run. But it would run as long as you did on the first try, you know. So kind of weird, but it seems to work fine now. So we'll finish this video up. I'll make sure everything's as good as it's going to be here before we call it done with this machine. Ran it a couple minutes. Everything seems good. Awesome. Is this the way that I really want to fix this voltage regulator and everything? No, but y'all saw at the beginning of the video how much of a hack job this wiring already is on this machine, and we just need to get this thing charging so we can get some grass cut, right? So again, I tried the new voltage regulator. That didn't do anything, unfortunately, so it's something in the wiring that is now, or that was probably shorted to that voltage regulator, which also looks like it used to control a few other functions as well that had all been bypassed. So a little bit of a mess, but and the repair is not, like I said, the most graceful repair I've ever done either. But it's charging at 14 volts. The PTO clutch works. I cut my whole front yard with it. And then, of course, we had the issue with the ignition coil, at least what I believe to still be the ignition coil. Run good for a while, shut it off, come back, turn it on, it'll run for a minute, and then shut right back off. Only enough to maybe get 100 feet or so, driving-wise. And so, got that replaced, and everything seems happy. So I'm going to go ahead and send it back to the customer. He'll be ready to go. The man that owns this mower is 95 or 96 years old, and has somebody cut the grass for him. So pretty cool. Got the order of the longleaf pine and everything, which is a big deal here in North Carolina, which is really, really neat. But all things considered, we're done. And get this LX176 back going again. These mowers are great. They'll run forever, but man, these things are starting to age, and takes a little bit more TLC than it used to keep these things going. So hopefully we can keep them going for a good little while longer, and we got them, like I said, charging and running properly again. And I do appreciate y'all watching this video. We got more content coming up throughout the coming weeks as the season starts winding down, and I'll get more of my mowers in to get them fixed as well. So thank you all again very much. Thanks for sticking with me on this small engine repair video, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.